Hey you guys, my name is Mara Sullivan and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about having more fun. And I feel like as we get older, we all know responsibilities, adulthood, family, bills, work, all of these things, start to happen in our lives. Life starts to happen even more just as we get older. And I want you to make sure that those things that come with adulthood and come with getting older do not suck the life out of you. Like, I want you to make sure that you are maintaining your wonder, your spark, your joy, because I think that what most of us know as a midlife crisis or even a quarter life crisis, but especially a midlife crisis, happens when adults realize that they've been spending the last 30, 40 years living mundane, boring, very textbook, by the book, following the rules kind of lifestyles. And then I feel like a lot of people, you know, 40 up or at whatever age, it hits people at different ages, just kind of get to a place where they're like, I've been living a life that is not 100% me. And then they have this dramatic crisis or this dramatic major they make this major lifestyle change because they feel like their whole life has been a lie, or they feel like they haven't been themselves, for so long, and they have to do all these dramatic things to feel like they, have found themselves again, or feel like they need to find themselves again, and it becomes a whole life journey, and it just becomes a whole thing. So I feel like to prevent some of that, you can be, making sure that along the way, as you go throughout your day to day lifestyle, so that it doesn't all hit you at one time, you have to do things, as you go about your life and in your everyday life to make sure that you are keeping the sparks, to make sure that you are maintaining the magic, to make sure that you are living a life that is fulfilling and that brings you joy and that makes you happy every single day. And I think that most of us are taught to believe that happiness and true joy and true fulfillment are is not for everybody. Especially if you look like me, if you are black, we are taught to just survive. I have a whole video on survival mode that's been performing really, really well. It's my best performing video so far. And I think that that video is doing so well because a lot of people realize that they have been living their life in survival mode, and, they want people to talk about it more. And I'm glad that, that video is doing so well. And that video was something that, you know, I chose to talk about because not a lot of people are talking about that. And, this video is kind of on that same topic of making sure that you are not just surviving, but that you are actually living your life. And that comes with being able to do that means actually being able to have fun. And so if you have never seen me before, hi, hello. I am brand new to YouTube. I have a few videos up already. I think this is probably like my somewhere around my 30th video. Um, and I just make videos under the general umbrella of living the life that you want, regardless of your circumstances. And so all the videos that I make, tie into that general theme in one way or another. And in today's video, it is living, a life that you enjoy and having fun, regardless of, your adult responsibilities, regardless of your age, regardless of what society tells you what you're supposed to be doing at a certain age or what you're supposed to have by a certain age. F all that, honestly. Like, you have to live a life according to yourself, according to what feels good to you, according to what you really want. And again, we're taught from a very young age to, you know, be realistic, to not dream too big, to a lot of us, not all of us, but, we're just taught by society that, you have to follow these steps in order to get a certain thing. You have to check the boxes: school, work, retire, die. Like, what? No. Like, no, that does not make sense. Of course, like family is thrown in there somewhere. Okay, so like school, work, kids, marriage, retire, die. Like that still doesn't it's still not the most, fulfilling thing. Family is very important, work is very important, but you have to make sure that you have a life, especially if you're working on a job that is not completely fulfilling to you. You have to make sure that you have a life outside of work. Make sure that you are doing things, like I said, on a daily basis that you genuinely enjoy doing. Make sure that you are not settling in any area of your life. Make sure you are not settling, and that's I talked about this in the previous video. Make sure you're not settling for a lesser version of yourself. I think that sometimes, a lot of times when we talk about settling and not accepting less than we deserve, it's it's in a relationship, or it has to do with a partner not being good enough for us. But I need you to make sure you are being good enough for yourself, because I think a lot of people go through life settling for a less version of themselves. If you know that you have more potential in you, I need you to do everything in your power to live out your full potential. If you know that you genuinely are not meant to stay on the same job for 30 years and a gold watch, if you know, that was like the big thing back in the day. Um, but if you know that like a traditional career path is not for you and that you really want to change, do it. Like, do not limit yourself, and also do not limit yourself by time. I remember that time is a social construct. Time does not really exist. We are taught to have these, we are just, we live in a world that is structured around time and around dates and around deadlines and getting things done by a certain time and things like that. But if you're a person of faith, then you've heard the scripture, God does not operate in time, he operates in eternity. 1,000 years is as one day, and one day is as 1,000 years, in the eyes of God. And so time doesn't really exist. It's a man-made thing. And so stop limiting yourself and limiting your goals and what you want to do based on a timeline, especially thinking about, your goals for the year and it being January. And, so many people just putting themselves and putting their goals and their dreams on this time structure, in this time scale, trying to do things in 90 days or 30 days, or give yourself 2 weeks, or things like that. And there's nothing wrong with those things. I use time to structure my life as well, but I'm also more fluid now. I have much more flexibility now in how I live my life. And when I say that, I don't mean like I'm just willy nilly and, not being adult, not being responsible and doing things like that. But I'm saying that I'm not thinking about my goals and things in a time frame anymore, if that makes sense. Like, if you know that you have a dream, if you know that you have goals, I need you to know that you already have it. And I need you to be persistent in you having it, in you affirming that you have it, and you praying, for it to happen, or being grateful every single day that you have whatever it is that you want. Um, and not putting like a limit, or not putting any space between the goals that you are trying to achieve, the life that you want to live, the person you want to be, not putting any space between that version and the current you, because they're the same person, they're living the same life. And so you have to be persistent in it, and don't use time as something that makes you give up on whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, or whoever it is you're trying to become. Because I feel like sometimes when we get too obsessed with time, and this all ties into having more fun and, being less serious, when we put time on things, when things don't happen in the time frame that we think they should happen, that's what causes most people to give up. And so you have to want what you want so bad and know that it's yours, to the point of time doesn't matter. Like, I feel like so much of and I'm talking about time so much because I feel like time is so much goes hand in hand with adulthood. um like the whole like women have to have kids by 30 and you have to have this by 25 and you need to be retired by 65 and like things like that. I feel like so much of our adulthood is based on time. That's why I'm talking about it in this context, and as it relates to the topic of having fun, because time and adulthood go hand in hand for the most part. For most of us, we feel like we have to have these boxes checked off. That's what we're taught basically from birth until you know for the rest of our lives. We're just taught that things have to happen in these certain time frames. And that's very limiting for a lot of people for the most part, because if things, like I said, if they don't happen when you think they should happen, then most people just think that it just can't happen at all. And it's like, what? like that makes no sense. I talk about this example a lot, but like if a kid is learning to read, or if a kid is learning to walk, or if a kid is learning to ride a bike, we're not, we know that it's normal if they don't pick up that skill immediately. We know that it's normal that, if a kid is just learning to walk, they fall down countless times. Nobody is freaking out that the kid is not walking perfectly in, the same day that they start taking their first steps, but they fall. Like it's okay. Nobody thinks that that's abnormal. Nobody thinks that, you know, there's anything wrong with that. So you have to think about your goals, your desires, your dreams, the life that you're trying to live, um, the things that you're trying to make happen. You have to think about it in that same context. That, just because it's not happening in the blink of an eye doesn't mean it's not happening at all. Like, you have to stay persistent and consistent in believing that you can have whatever it is that you want, and believing that you are whoever it is that you're trying to be, regardless of the circumstance. I don't care what the outside world looks like. If you know that you are meant to do something specific, if you know you are meant to be someone specific, you are that person. You have that thing. It's up to you to decide to stay persistent and stay consistent in that belief. And it doesn't have anything to do with time. Like I said, stop letting, because it didn't happen in this time frame, means it's not going to happen at all mentality. Like that is so crazy. Like think about how many people, that's why a lot of New Year's resolutions don't stick. Think about how many people put a time limit on something and then just completely gave up, and now they don't even know what they could have become if they kept going. you know it's so important to be childlike again, not be childish, but as an adult you have to, you know keep that childlike faith, because kids don't think about time, not in the same way we do. If every day is a brand new day to them, like there's no such thing as time to a child. They just wake up and they do what we tell them to do, and they go to bed, and they don't think anything of, the time. Like, you have to kind of get that childlike faith back again, and remember that it's okay if things don't happen exactly the way and in the time frame you want them to happen. Doesn't mean that they're not going to happen at all. So you have to be persistent and be consistent on the things that you want, and make sure that the things you want you actually want, because when you really 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 have a desire, when you really have a goal, when you really have a dream that you want, you're going to do everything possible within your power to make it happen. Either you want something or you don't. Either you want it or you don't. And again, this ties in with having fun, because whatever you want for yourself, whatever you want out of life, should be so fulfilling to you and should light you up so much that it should give you so much joy just thinking about having it, just thinking about being that person. So, like, it goes with being delusional, it goes with being unrealistic, like, it goes with using your imagination so much to the point of knowing, not just believing, but knowing that you already have whatever it is that you want, and to getting to a place where you're letting your imagination run wild. There's nothing wrong with doing that as an adult. And if if you are a child and you were told that, like, I know for me, somewhere along the way I picked up the phrase having an overactive imagination, and I don't know who told me that or where I learned that, but it stuck with me for a long time. And I'm just now realizing that, like, wait a minute, I can actually have whatever I want. And, you know, I've just gotten back into daydreaming again and using my imagination and visualizing and just knowing that I can actually have whatever I want. I don't have to follow the society box checking way of life. That's not me. So you have to figure out whatever it is that works for you and make sure that you are doing it. Make sure that you are being unapologetic about it. I do have a podcast. It is called Thoughts by Mara, and I just did a whole episode on being shameless self plug. I just did a whole episode on being unapologetically yourself. If you want to get more in depth into that, if you feel like you're someone who is a black sheep or is very different from the people, in your circle, or you feel like you always stand out, or you feel like you are holding yourself back for whatever reason, you feel like you can't fully express all of it is who you can't fully express all of it is that you are. That sounded so weird, but you guys know what I mean. Like if you feel like you can't be all of who you are, go listen to that episode because in my humble opinion, it is my episode. So it's like I particularly really like it. Like I try to only talk about things, creating videos and doing podcasts on things I want to talk, like hear about myself. I do not follow trends. I never look up, especially like when you're doing YouTube, a lot of the like gurus will say like you have to look up keywords and look up what people are, researching. I can't, that's not my thing. I can only talk about what I genuinely feel passionate about talking about. Like all of the content I create, all of the videos I put out are because they're things that I genuinely want to talk about. And so I don't care how they perform because I'm doing this because I want to do it, I think is what I'm trying to say. And so you have to find more of those things in your life that you enjoy doing because you genuinely like to do them and you have to be unapologetic about it. One of the easiest ways to have more fun is to simply be less serious. Stop taking yourself so seriously. Stop like trying to fit a mold of something that might not be you. Like it is okay to be different. Make sure that you are not taking yourself too seriously, that you're able to laugh at yourself, that you are able to embrace your flaws, that you are able to, embrace imperfection. I think that a lot of people get so uptight and serious and just, you know, stuffy as they get older because they try to act like something they're not, or they're trying to, you know, just portray this image of perfection and act like you have it all together just because you're an adult. Nobody has it all together. I think that the people who are the most happy and the most successful and who really do have kind of like cracked the code to life are the people who know and understand that they can be unapologetically themselves and nothing is wrong with that. And it is okay to admit, you know, that you're not perfect. It's okay to admit that you have flaws. It is okay to admit that you don't have it all together because no one does. I think it's so important to remember that whoever it is that you admire, like think about who your biggest, idol is, your biggest, um, I don't know, inspiration is. Nobody has it all together. That's why I love listening to people's stories, like whoever your favorite artists are, go listen to their story. Like, go listen to their interviews, go listen to them on podcasts, because there's always so much more to people than you realize. Make sure that, like I said, you're able to laugh at yourself. Make sure that you are embracing your imperfections, embracing your flaws. If you need to, make a list, like an actual list of all the things that you think are wrong with you. It'll help you to it'll help you to realize that you're not perfect, and it'll also help you to realize that you have flaws just like everybody else. You don't need to judge other people because you have things wrong about you too, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're human, we're all imperfect, and we're all perfectly imperfect. And so you have to, like I said, you can do this exercise if you feel like you're taking yourself way too seriously and you can't figure out how to like chill out. Make a list of all the things that you think are wrong with you. I mean, everything, every single thing. Call yourself out. The way that you talk, the way that you think. If you don't like things about the way that you look, write down every single thing that you don't like about yourself. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds like um more negative than, we're going for in this video, but I promise you it'll help you. Write down every single thing that you don't like about yourself. And I need you to tell yourself, one, I need you to like laugh once you do that. Cause like you're gonna be like, oh my God, like that is so ridiculous. Um, and I need you to tell yourself that you actually love all those things. And I don't care if like you're lying to yourself, I don't care if it sounds delusional. Tell yourself that you actually love every single thing on that list. And the things that you genuinely do not like, tell yourself that you can change and that you are working on those things. And it's okay if, those things aren't perfect about you, because no one is perfect. But it just helps so much when you know your own flaws, when you are aware of your own, you know, imperfection. It helps so much with just being able to loosen up. It helps so much with being able to interact with other people. It helps so much in being able to, just be more carefree, because you're not so worried about, how you're coming off to people. Or like, it's good to be, obviously, we should all be aware of, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's the golden rule. But you should also be, conscious of the way that, if you're someone who tends to judge people, if you're someone who tends to gossip a lot, if you're someone who tends to complain a lot, and like, you need to catch yourself when you have moments of just negativity, like real, like actual negativity, and remind yourself that things are just not that serious. You know what I mean? Like everything is just not that deep. I think that we live in a fear-based world. We live in a fear-based society. And a lot of that, transfers or translates into our everyday life, where, we're so accustomed, a lot of people are so accustomed, especially as you get older, to just get more stuck in your ways, to, you know, um, be more like cynical, be um just more complainy about everything, to think that everything is wrong. Like we a lot of people as they get older tend to focus more on the wrong than the right, or focus more on the bad than the good. And that's not life. Like that is just not life. And if you're someone who feels like you're too serious all the time, feels like you can't have any fun, or you're not having enough fun, start with yourself. Everything is going to start with you. Identify your flaws. Tell yourself that you love that about yourself. Work on the things that you want to change, that you genuinely do not like. Work on those things. Um, and, it'll help you, like I said, to just be more gracious with other people, because you'll be less judgmental, because you'll know that you yourself are also imperfect. I think a lot of times, a lot of people aren't able to loosen up and aren't able to have fun, like I said before, because they're trying so hard to be something that they're just not. Like you're trying to show off for what? For who? Like nobody is perfect. I don't care how people come off. I don't care how. And usually you'll find that the most confident people are the ones who are so secure in themselves that, they're able to let go. They're able to have fun. They're able to laugh. They're the ones who are actually not the most serious people in the room. The people who are super confident, at least in my experience and what I've learned from being around a lot of people, like the people who are the most confident are the ones that actually don't take themselves so seriously. You can always tell when people are insecure, because they're always worried about what other people are doing, because they actually, that is the easiest tell that someone deeply does not like something about themselves, when all they can do is talk about other people, because a lot of the times they're so focused on taking the attention off of them, that all they want to do is talk about other people. All they want to do is call other people out. That is the easiest tell of insecurity. And so you have to make sure that you are someone who is not giving off that energy, that you are not giving off insecurity. You have to, work on being more secure in yourself, because it's going to help you have more fun in life. It's going to help you to enjoy your life more, because you're not going to be so self-conscious all the time. You're not going to be, worried about saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. Like if it happens, it's okay. You'll be able to apologize. You'll be able to be mature enough and adult enough to, you know, take responsibility for a situation, but to also be able to laugh and be like, I really effed up. Like, I am so sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to do that. It is okay to call yourself out when you're wrong. It's okay to take responsibility. Like, so much of that just goes back to being self-aware. So much of that goes back to being unapologetic, and make sure that you know are not trying to be someone that you're not. A kid, if you think about children, they can't be anyone other than exactly who they are. Kids are very take it or leave it. This is me, take it or leave it. And that is the energy that you need to maintain as you get older, so that you're not, so that you don't become super stuffy or stuck up, or being so serious all the time, because life is meant to be enjoyed. If you have things about your life that you don't like, it is your responsibility to change it. And I know that a lot of people don't like taking responsibility for their lives, when it comes to work, when it comes to finances, when it comes to family, when it comes to friendships, relationships, people. A lot of people like to blame other people, like to blame circumstances, like to blame, everything else and everyone else for why their lives look the way their lives look, and why they are the way they are. And yes, things happen, people happen, life happens, but you have to still take responsibility for your life at the end of the day. It is your job. How you respond to things, how you handle things, how you choose to deal with things is up to you. That is no one else's responsibility. And, like I said, the whole theme of my channel is living the life that you want, regardless of your circumstances. I don't care, what the outside world looks like. I don't care. I do care what has happened to you. You have to make sure that you process your feelings, process your emotions, do what you need to do to move through life, to move on with your life, to, get through the hard things. But how you live your life is up to you. It is 110% up to you. Also, make sure that you are not letting fear of disappointment, that you're not letting, fear of failure hold you back from doing whatever it is that you want. Like I said before, if you really want something bad enough, you're not going to give up on it. And so make sure that, again, you have that childlike faith, to the point of there is no plan B. Like, make sure that you are being so, in love with your goals, in love with your life, in love with um, accomplishing whatever it is you want to accomplish out of life, that you are just so obsessed with it and so excited about it, that there is no plan B. Do not let fear, disappointment, getting your hopes up, all of those things, like, don't let that stuff stop you from staying persistent in your goal. I don't care if the complete opposite of what you wanted to happen happens. If you still want that thing to happen, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Like, you have to keep going, you have to keep believing, you have to keep um just being consistent and being persistent. If you want something bad enough, you're going to make it happen. And you have to have fun in, the process. You have to make sure that you're having fun, whatever it is that you're working towards, whatever it is that you are, you know um doing with your life. You should be enjoying. And if you're not, it is up to you to change it. Make sure that you are doing things that genuinely make you happy. Make sure that you are doing things that you enjoy doing as a kid. Like, if you stop doing things that you really love to do, and somewhere along the way you stop doing those things, bring them back into your life. Even if you may have had someone tell you, like, you had to stop doing that, or grown-ups don't do that, or people aren't going to like you if you do that. If you have things that that you genuinely love to do, that you have stopped doing, you got to start doing those things again. You can't be ruled by other people. You can't be ruled by the external world. Your life is up to you. Everything should come from inside, not from outside. How you live your life has to be from inside, not from outside. Stop living your life according to what other people tell you, what society tells you, what you think is right. Like, you have to be living your life according to what feels good to you and what feels fulfilling to you. And just make sure that you are doing things that actually make you happy, that you are saying no to the things that do not, and yes to more of the things that do make you happy. Make sure that you are filling your life, like, even when it comes to the little things, with the things that you genuinely enjoy. The music that you want to listen to, make sure that you're doing that, at all times. The TV shows that you love watching, the movies that you love watching, the books that you love reading, the food that you enjoy eating, and the little, like, hobbies. Have hobbies in your life that are going to create so much fun in your life, especially if you are someone who works a lot. It's important to have a life outside of your job. And so make sure that If there are sports you like to play, go play. Go find a team or go find, a way to play whatever sport you like to play. Go find a way to have whatever creative outlet you really enjoy. Make sure you're making the time to do that. Make sure that you are being, present and showing up for the people who you genuinely love and that you're making time for them. Make sure that, you know, down to like the little everyday things, the food that you like to eat, how you the tea, coffee, like these are things that I enjoy. I love like tea, coffee, books, candles, like have little things throughout your day every single day that you genuinely enjoy and that really do make you happy. Because the little things are, what makes up our lives. And so just make sure that every single day you are doing things that you genuinely enjoy, and as you're going about your life that you are getting rid of the things that don't, and that you are changing the things about your life that you don't like. And that goes for, what you are spending the majority of your time on. Most of us are spending the majority of our time at work. So really do your best to make sure that is something that you enjoy doing. I know that that is very hard for a lot of people. But you have to, again, just be so persistent in your affirmations and your prayers and your faith, to not waver, to not give up on living the life that you want to live and doing the thing that you want to do, and knowing, not just believing, but knowing that it is possible for you, using your imagination every single day to imagine yourself already having it, already living the life, already being that person, regardless of what the physical looks like. And do little things every single day that you want to do as the person you're trying to become. If you know that you want to be living in a certain place or want to be doing a certain job, what how is that person thinking? Those little things. How is that person eating? How is that person working out? Who do they spend their time with? Like, even if you can't, do these huge major physical changes right away, you can start living like the person you're trying to become in little ways. What do they consume? What kind of content are they consuming? What um how are they going about their day? What are their routines? And start doing those like little things. How do they dress? How do they think? How do they talk? Who do they talk to? What kind of work are they doing? And start doing little things that the ideal you, the highest version of yourself, wants to do every single day. And like I said, please, please, please do not settle for a lesser version of yourself. You get one life, you know, or at least you get one time around this time, regardless of what you believe in, who you believe in. If you believe we come back, you know, then do we come back? I think that, whatever you believe for yourself is going to be true for you. I genuinely believe that. But it right here, right now, in your physical life, like the body that you're in right now, you only get one of those. And so make sure that you are not settling for a lesser version of yourself. Make sure that you're not settling for a lesser version of your life. Settling is not just for other people, it is not just for relationships. You cannot settle when it comes to yourself either, and when it comes to your life. So make sure that you are not doing that. Make sure that you are doing every single thing that you can in your power to have more fun, that you are not letting responsibilities, that you are not letting um, bills and work and family and whatever other responsibilities and adulting things that you have, that you're not letting those things drain you, that you are not letting them um, drag you down and have this heavy energy all the time. So many people are walking around with like such a major weight on their shoulders. It's okay to loosen up. If you need a day to like collect yourself or need a minute to get yourself together, step back, tell the people who you need to tell, like, I need a minute, do whatever it is you need to do to get yourself together, okay? Like, stop, carrying the weight around on your shoulders, especially if you are a Black woman, because for some reason society thinks it is our job to carry around everybody's everything, and it's not. I don't know who needed to hear that, but that was for somebody. It's not. And so take a deep breath and go have you some fun, whatever that looks like for you. If you need to go out for a night, go out for a night. If you need to go buy yourself something, go buy yourself something. Retail therapy, do it responsibly, of course, but at some point you got to just do what makes you happy, okay? At some point you just got to do what makes you happy. So Go find something that, genuinely lights you up, genuinely brings you joy. Go find something you're excited about, you know, and lean into that as much as possible. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and comment down below ways that you are continuing to have fun and be childlike even as you get older and as you continue in your adulthood. And I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.